Hello everybody, welcome to the 8th episode of Taking Notes. I'm your host Jack, and we're going to go over a few topics here. First, we're going to begin with the 2023 Ottawa Senators draft review. We're going to go over two RFAs the Senators signed yesterday on Free Agency Day, and we're going to go over a big report that came out from Bruce Garriock. So first off, let's begin with the draft class, and we only had 5 picks, a 4th, a 5th, and 3 7ths. One of the 7ths was from Nashville in the Erica Branson trade back in 2021, and from the Tyler Mott deal back in February. So, in the 4th round, we had the 108th overall pick, and we picked Hoyt Stanley, who is a defenseman from the BCHL. He is 6'3", 205, and he's a right-hand shot defenseman from the Victoria Grizzlies. In 2 seasons with the Grizzlies, he tallied 4 goals and 35 assists in 66 career games. That's not bad. He's also shown to be a strong skater with a high IQ and an ability to move the puck. A lot of upside to look forward to. He will play NCAA hockey with Cornell University Big Red. So he will be in college hockey. 5th round pick, 140th overall, Matthew Danowski from the OHL. He's also a defenseman. He's 6'2", and he's left-handed shot out of the Kitchener Rangers. In his 2 seasons with the Rangers, Danowski helped his team make the playoffs each year while adding 20 assists in 110 career games. He's a strong kid who showed a lot of growth in his game this season, particularly improving his skating and puck handling. He played a prominent role on the Rangers' penalty kill, so that is a good sign. I mean, you get a little bit of depth with penalty kill as well down the line. And now we go to the 7th round. This is our own pick, 204. Owen Beckner, he's a forward from the BCHL. He is 6'2", 181. He's also a center from the Salmon Arm Silverbacks of the BCHL. He grew his game this season, jumping from 4 goals to 6 assists for 10 points in 42 games last season to 17 goals and 33 assists for 50 points in 53 games this season. He also has a strong hockey IQ, and he's able to make quick decisions on the fly. He will be joining the NCAA ranks with the Colorado College. So, again, another guy that's going to go to college, but, again, these guys with high IQ and can make quick decisions, can't hate that. And now the 207th pick. This was Nashville's 7th rounder. We got Vladimir Nikitin. He's a goaltender from the KZ. He's from Kazakhstan. He's a left-handed 6'4", 192 goaltender out of the Bars Nursultan of the Kazakhstan Hockey League. In 24 games, he had a 921 save percentage and a 2.07 goals against average. When playing with Bars Nursultan, he posted lines of an 885 save percentage and a 3.56 goals against average. In his most recent international tournament at the World Junior Championship Division 1A, he had a 936 save percentage and a 1.5 goals against average as he went 4-1-0 in the tournament. Next season, he will be with the Chilliwack Chiefs of the BCHL. So a lot of BCHL guys out of here. But those stats, for the most part, are really good. A little bit more goalie depth there. Can't hate it. So, 215th overall, this was the Rangers pick. We took Nicholas Ventisell, a goaltender. So we picked another goaltender from the USHL. He is a 6'4", 193 right shot center from... they screwed up the positions there. So he is a right shot center from the Green Bay Gamblers of the USHL. He is 6'4", 193. And over the 2 seasons in Green Bay, he scored 30 goals and added 25 helpers, meaning assists, for 55 total points in 120 games. He will skate with the University of Massachusetts in the Hockey East Conference. Though there weren't many picks, the Senators made most of them. To say there was a theme in their picks also seems like an understatement, as they are all big bodies with an average height of 6'3". That is really impressive. And a clear emphasis on the back end with 3 defensemen and a goaltender. Additionally, 3 of their draft picks will grow physically while they grow their games in the college ranks. So, again, I can't hate these picks. I like how they evened out the positions. They got 2 centers, they got 2 defensemen, one that can play the left side, one that's right shot, and they got a goaltender. So that's amazing depth there. And especially with all the prospects that we signed yesterday, our prospect pool isn't looking that bad now. On top of that, we got a prominent role from the Hershey Bears Calder Cup Championship. I forgot his name, but he signed with the Ottawa Senators. He went to unrestricted free agency, signed with us. So again, you're going to have a guy that got experience winning the Calder Cup. So, again, I like what this prospect pool is holding in right now. Obviously, it's not the best of prospect pools, but it's not the worst, in my opinion. It's getting down there. But I'm going to go over to our RFAs that we signed now. Erik Brannstrom got a 1-year extension yesterday at $2 million. I'm sorry, I don't like this contract. I think it's way too much of an overpay for a bottom pair defenseman, and he's just not going to see a top 4 role in a while unless injuries happen. But I mean, as a fully healthy top 4, he's not going to be in there. Our top 4, obviously, Shabbat, Zub, Sanderson, and Chychrun. There's just no spot for him, and especially with a 1 year, do they see him as a trade piece? I wouldn't be against it. We could get actually some decent value for him, so I wouldn't mind it. Also, Jacob Bernard-Docker got a 2-year extension at $805,000. I like this. He might be the 7th defenseman, and he may just be the 3rd pair right shot defenseman. Dorian did say this was his role to lose, but again, there might be a situation where we re-sign Travis Hamonic. He was looking at it. He's interested in re-signing, but it's got to be for cheap. But it can't be for too much, obviously. But now we're going to go to the article that is raising a lot of eyebrows. So, we're going to talk about Alex DeBrincat. Yes, and there's a lot of speculation about him yesterday with the New York Islanders. But we're going to talk about the 5 teams that were on his list. And it's most likely to be Florida, Vegas, Nashville, Dallas, and Detroit. So, his agent may have lost his client, which is Alex DeBrincat, all of his leverage in negotiations. And I'm going to read this article here. It's from the Hockey Feed. If the situation continues to play out the way it has, there are going to be questions asked about how many millions of dollars Alex DeBrincat and his agent have missed out on. In spite of the fact it seems like DeBrincat is destined for a trade out of Ottawa, with reports indicating that DeBrincat will not be signing a long-term deal with his current team, the goal-scoring forward remains untraded into the second day of free agency in the National Hockey League. Of concern here for both the Senators and DeBrincat will be potential suitors, diminishing his teams commit their cap space to other players, but it sounds like the Senators may not be at fault. And that's kind of what I got from reading this article and in general. It seemed like DeBrincat was trying to make Dorian look stupid and be like, hey, look, I'm trying to extend. I'm happy here, but he's not giving me what I want. But I feel like the ones defending DeBrincat here, I feel like this definitely makes DeBrincat and his agent get absolutely exposed. I'm going to read more in it. According to a scathing report from Ottawa Senators insider Bruce Garriock, it would seem that DeBrincat and his agent have greatly miscalculated. Garriock is now reporting that DeBrincat's agent gave the Senators a list of 5 teams. Like I said, it's probably Florida, Vegas, Nashville, Dallas, and Detroit. He would sign a long-term extension with only the Senators to learn that none of them are interested in reciprocating. And it's going to explain more into how they are not interested. Instead, the Senators insider reports that 2 of the 5 weren't interested at all. And if I were to make a prediction, it would definitely be Vegas, and I would probably assume that's Florida. And the other 3 reportedly not interested in committing to DeBrincat long term. There were obviously heavy rumors with the Detroit Red Wings, and we know about Steve Yzerman. I said it in my video talking about him possibly going to the Red Wings, saying that Detroit is kind of stubborn with their contract negotiations, and we knew that could be, oh wait, it hits a snag? Well, guess what, guys? It just hit a snag, so there you go. Dallas was also in rumors with him, but I don't see how they work. They got Tyler Seguin and Jamie Benn. They would have to move on from one of those guys. Probably Jamie Benn through buyout, most likely. But either way, I think both of them have no movement clauses, so it's not going to be easy. So Dallas can't do it. And the Nashville Predators, that's honestly the interesting one, because I thought out of the 5 teams, Nashville would actually be the one that would be able to make it work. But, again, they have a lot of money invested in guys like Ryan O'Reilly, Luke Schenn, who they signed yesterday. So, again, it leaves the Senators with very few options when it comes to getting a good return on their investment into DeBrincat, which would in turn explain why no trade of yet materialized. You have to wonder if the Senators themselves are now reconsidering the long-term offer they were previously prepared to offer DeBrincat, given what they know now about the relative lack of interest from DeBrincat's preferred teams. And not just that, he also wants to be a top-line winger, which honestly, I'm not going to say he's not. I mean, he's good enough to be a top-line winger for some teams. But don't you remember this? Even though the Panthers did shop Duclair, I don't know if he was the top line guy. The top left winger for the Panthers is probably going to be Carter Verhaeghe. For the Vegas Golden Knights, they just have a terrible cap situation. It's probably going to be Ivan Barbashev. Dallas, it's Robo. Nashville, it's Philip Forsberg. And Detroit, obviously, is not going to do it, and I don't even think Ottawa is going to trade him to him anyway. So, again, you have 5 teams that aren't interested. There were rumors with the Anaheim Ducks. They can't do it now because they got Alex Killorn on a very expensive contract. And then there's the New York Islanders, who invested so much money and so much long-term extensions into some of their own players. Especially that Semyon Varlamov extension that he got, and then the big Ilya Sorokin contract that he got yesterday. And listen, Sorokin's worth it, but with his extension, how are you going to fit the DeBrincat in your cap situation? I mean, that's a big question to have if you're the New York Islanders. So DeBrincat, apparently, his biggest offer was offered by the Ottawa Senators, and he wants a long-term extension, and he won't sign long-term with Ottawa. So that's a problem for DeBrincat. I mean, without this article, his agent is probably making a lot of money trying to get all the leverage to DeBrincat. And listen, DeBrincat probably had all the leverage when trade talks happened, because it seemed like Detroit was the preferred destination and all that. And that's when the Detroit rumors started, like, heating up by a lot. But now with this article coming out, the Ottawa Senators could literally offer Alex DeBrincat an extension of $7.5 million on whatever term he wants, and that might be the best offer. Like, when you lose leverage in a trade or it's contracts, there's no way you can, like, come back from that. So, it'll be interesting to see what happens with DeBrincat. I think we should trade him, and with this, honestly, it seems like he's got an ego issue. He seems like he has a very not-so-good character. He thinks he's a super... Like, listen, he's been an all-star a couple of times, but the way he is kind of boosting his ego, it's not what he should be getting now. We were talking about this. I actually had a few Red Wings fans in my comment section with that video, and he wants basically Larkin money. And what has DeBrincat done to be worth it? And some are saying $6.4 million is an overpay for DeBrincat. And listen, with his minus 31 that he had, with how undersized he is, I'm sorry, I wouldn't give him the big contract that he wants. Originally, I was saying $8 million is the max, but now it's looking way less. And even if you gave him $7.5 million, you have to fill out your entire bottom 6. You have Shane Pinto, Matthew Joseph, Ridley Gregg, and Mark Kaslick. That's all. So you have to fill those 2 roles, the 3rd-line winger and the 4th-line right winger. And in addition to that, you want to know what your bottom pair is going to be, because we really don't know what that bottom pair is going to be. It seems like it's going to be Branstrom, Bernard, Docker, but who knows? Maybe Branstrom gets traded, which I would highly doubt, and Clevin gets that bottom pair role. And maybe Travis Hamonic comes back. Who knows? So, it'll be interesting. But the fact that nobody wants to pay Alex DeBrincat, there's got to be an issue with him and his agent, definitely. So how it plays out, we'll see. It's becoming a big soap opera now, isn't it? But, again, that's my episode of Taking Notes. I hope you enjoyed. But for now, this is Jack from the Ottawa Senators Outlook, and go Sens go.
We hope you enjoyed this presentation of Taking Notes, a presentation of the Ottawa Senators Outlook. We appreciate your dedication of contributions to this channel.